Good morning and welcome to MS4. Today we're going to be going through my trip that I took to the Lisa Eldridge pop-up in New York in Soho, and also the kind of introspection and checking my collection to see what I've got from Lisa and how I figured out what I have on my wish list and how I'm dealing with the whole wish list and wait. So anyway, let's get started. So what I wanted to do is to just look at some of the Lisa Eldridge that I have. Now, as far as base makeup, I love her sheer skin tint. I am in T4, the shade T4. This is a shake it, and then it's surprisingly good coverage for being very light. And so I really love this foundation. And as I was going through this, I remembered I actually do have her foundation. It is in shade 6, and it's been long enough that I've forgotten what I think of this. I had good enough feelings about it that it did not get decluttered as when I moved from LA to New York. But we're gonna just go back and figure out. I think I like it. Let's find out. So we're gonna do that, and I'll tell you the story of my Lisa Eldridge field trip. So Lisa opened up a pop-up in Soho this spring, and it's in the neighborhood near like the Prada building, some of the higher end fashion housey sort of things. And it's a pretty quiet neighborhood. I was really excited because, like, excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cough today. This may be a little lighter shade than I need right now. We'll figure it out. But anyway, so it was really raining that day, and I went with my partner and my puppy. We went on the subway, which was very exciting, but then we needed to walk, and we were a little early. The pop-up doesn't open till either 11 or 12 depending on the day. So we stopped to eat. I had a coffee, and we had some pastries, and then it still wasn't time enough for it to open, so we ended up having a sandwich. But again, it was raining really hard, so it probably wasn't a bad thing that we stayed for a little bit longer. We just chatted and had snacks and then lunch, and it was lovely. And then it was still raining, but we went ahead and walked. It was light enough rain at this time. We walked down to the pop-up. And so Lisa did a video showing you what the pop-up looked like. So technically, they did a really good job of actually capturing what it looked like. Sometimes when brands do things like pop-ups or oh, look, isn't this interesting, they don't really show things how they are. They either shoot it so it looks more interesting than it is, that it's bigger than it is, all sorts of stuff like that. But they actually really did a good job in her video of portraying what it actually looks like. So for this pop-up, if you wanted to have your makeup done by a professional makeup artist, you would pay $100, but that $100 could go directly to buying makeup. So you didn't have to worry about just laying down money to get your makeup done and then not getting anything for it. So the $100 would go to that. I chose not to do that. I didn't feel like I really needed my makeup done. And I also, we're on a low buy. And I wanted to be able to try a couple of different of the new lip colors and see what I thought, how they wore on me. So this is really nice. Yeah, this is more coverage than the other, but it's not bad. Not bad at all. Okay. And this is pretty much dried down. And that's not too bad of a color for me for summer. So far, so good. Now I don't have any blush or highlighter from Lisa. So I'm just gonna use a couple of palettes. I'm gonna use the Cali Contour for my bronzer. And then I could use the items out of this, but I have a blush that I want to use. So we're gonna use that. Okay. So we're just doing the bronzer from the Cali Contour from Smashbox. Now, I have tried the cleanser from Lisa. It's supposed to be good for dry skin. I didn't find it all that wonderful, especially for the price point. And I had given it to a friend of mine to see if somebody who had dry skin would find it super helpful. And they also were kind of like, it's all right, but it didn't really do much of anything for them otherwise. So I was like, all right, okay. She does have a spray, a setting spray / moisturizing spray. I have not tried that. I don't really love setting sprays. Okay, and now this is from the Beauty and the Beast. This is the blush and highlighter palette from Sigma. So that wasn't necessarily a win. I really loved her, now seeing the other one, I remember that I do like it. But her seamless skin tint is just fantastic. So her skin tint, really love. Would buy again at that price point. So her lip products have been phenomenal. There is an olive colored eyeliner that I want to try. But other than that, I haven't been really, because of the low buy. I have a mascara I love. I haven't really been pulled in to try her mascara. So that's kind of where we are as far as that goes. Now I've been enjoying the evolution of her lip products. I got the shade Meet Cute in the last one. This more of a slippy, balmy sort of a thing. It has fragrancing. It's like the Charlotte Tilbury, kind of a soft vanilla-y fragrancing to it. Before this, she did not have scent in her lip products. So like all the velvet, things like that, did not have scent to them. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do a quick eye look. I saw an eye look come up on her website, and I took a picture of it. I have one of her eye palettes. This is Myth. Sorry, I didn't mean to blind you. This is Myth. Like the mauves, the purpley colors. I'm not going to use that today. I looked when I was at the pop-up, I looked at Betty, that's made after her cat. And I actually really think that would be a nice palette to have. If I were to pick up another palette, that would be the one I would pick. with her formulations, I really feel like the best way to apply her formulas is either with a fingertip or with a sponge applicator. It just feels that way. So the eye look I want to do though, I'm going to do the Rick and Morty from Glamlight palette because it's a green look, and this is what we're working with. So the sparkly kind of gray green, and the darker green, and then a more white cream colored in the inner corner. So that's what we're gonna do for that. The big thing with this is the focus on lips, because that's really what I love from Lisa and what I'm looking at, what I'm wanting to wish list. So it's been really hard. So the new lipsticks, the formula, really nice. It's like it's pigmented and has some body to it. More like I said, one of the Charlotte Tilbury, from the scent of it. But Lisa has different color sorts of ways, more outside the box. Okay, so I'm going to start, let me start with the dark. I'm going to get a different brush. The fragrancing is nice. The wear on her lipsticks now, that was nice. I really wanted to see what shades looked like on me actually. So when I got there were 2 regular lipsticks in the line that I was interested in seeing what they looked like on me. One was Simone, and the other was the Ashes of Roses. Those were regular colors. And then for her Maryland collection, Lisa had brought out two shades of lipstick and one of a liquid lipstick. So in the regular lipsticks was Norma Jean, which is an orangey red, and then Amagansett, which is a pinky red. Now Amagansett looks a little bit like Velvet Carnival. Velvet Carnival is probably a little bit more on the pink side and a little less in the red side, but it's still fairly close, but it is in the velvet, as Velvet Carnival. It's in the velvet style, so it's not at all the same formula. But I had looked at whether or not I thought I had something like Norma Jean, and really the closest thing that I have is the Atomic Cherry, but it's in the lighter, more slippier formula, and doesn't have the same body and not quite the same orange red that Norma Jean has. And I really liked how Norma Jean looked on me. I thought it looked really nice. So that's the one. Okay, I'm going in with the dark green first. That's the color that I want to get in the lipstick, is the Norma Jean. The liquid lip is supposedly reformulated, and so supposed to be much less feeling dry, like some liquid lipsticks do. It's a really pretty red, but I don't, when money is tight, what I really want is a formula that I can wear a lot. So I think the Simone lip color is something that I could wear all the time, because it's just a beigey nude, my lip color sort of one, but it looked really nice. And the Norma Jean, I felt like really looked good. It was a very nice summer kind of shade. It's funny because my partner had commented, because he saw me taking pictures there, to be able to look at the colors later. And he said, why do you never smile in these lipstick pictures? And I'm like, because sometimes if I smile, you know, like my upper lip disappears and it's harder to see the color. You know, but the point taken that maybe I could look less grim when I was taking my pictures. You know, he might have had a point on that. So I'll keep that in mind for next time, that I don't have to look grim just to be able to see my lips for the color, for checking the color. So we had a really good time. I had a good time. The makeup artists there were really nice. I talked to just one of the salespeople because I wasn't getting my makeup done. I just had questions about, you know, did Lisa show up there? And she said they were getting set up and Lisa came a day early, which kind of surprised them. But they got training from Lisa, which is lovely. Said that she's a very lovely person in real life, so that was nice to hear. So really it was just, you know, they were talking about the Maryland collection. I wasn't like the highlighter / lowlighter that they made is pretty, but I have a lot of my Super Shocks. I have some Super Shocks that look a lot like that, that I can be very sheer with for wearing. I did try out the blushes, the stick blushes while I was there. They were very emollient. I would not wear those. I could wear those as a lip product, but I could not wear them as a cheek product because they're just much too emollient for me. I'm going to stop talking for just a second, get my under eye. So that's one that I would not buy. If you had all are wanting to put something on your cheeks and not be sticky, that formula is not for you. Wasn't for me. But I know some people who like that very dewy, emollient cheek. But it would be nice on the lips if you're just going to use it on the lips. Okay, so we've got that. In Lisa's picture, it's much more graphic, much more defined. I'm probably not going to do that here. So let me make sure that I'm... So I think this next row, I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to do that with the finger. And this is just going to tap that along the bottom. But so I found the shade of lipstick in the Norma collection that I like. Found the shade of lipstick in the regular line of lipstick that I liked. But I didn't know for sure. Like, I needed to be able to sit back and look at the pictures and really think about it. I did look at the holder. This is a refillable lipstick, and it's one of those things that all parts of it can be recycled. They do have the refills that are $30 if you want the lipstick and the holder. It's $59. And the holders, I think I'm fairly certain they wouldn't fit in my plastic lipstick holders. So they would have to live somewhere else, and you can just get one and swap them out. But I think probably I would not get the holder. They still, someone pointed this out and I can't unsee it, that they looked like the Mr. Peanut. So I can't unsee that. You can get your initials engraved on the bottom, which I kind of like that idea. but I think as far as the expense and the fact that they don't fit in my holders, would make that a no. I would just get the refills. Okay, let's do the very lightest now for the corner. Kind of a mint green. So anyway, I went home. I didn't end up picking up anything. And I went home and I looked at the pictures, and I had to check by the colors that I already had of her lipstick. And I found kind of the Amagansett. You know, I was looking at that in relation to like the Velvet Carnival and the Atomic Cherry. And the Atomic Cherry is a little closer to the Norma Jean in being a little more orange, but the finish and the body of it, the Atomic Cherry is more of the slippy sort of lipstick, and the Norma Jean was a regular, nice lipstick, but just a more of a regular formula, not the slippy one. So after looking at that and looking at what I had, like, I didn't really have a color like the Norma Jean, and I didn't really have a finish like the Norma Jean. So that's when I decided that's the one that I would pick up, instead of the Amagansett. That I had ones that were close enough to the Amagansett, the pinky red, that I'd be fine. So with that, I was like, okay, now I'm farther away from that. I've decided I do like it. I don't have it in my collection already. It's something I would like to pick up. And now it's on the wish list and we're waiting. And I don't think that I'll change my mind as far as wanting that lipstick and wanting that specific one. And I also don't think I'll change my mind for wanting to pick up Simone. Even though it's I have shades closer to the Simone, the finish and I still would like to pick up one of Simone. But the Norma Jean is a definite. There's no rush on Simone because that's a normal color from Lisa. The Norma Jean is limited edition, but it's one of those things, it's like I've got to wait for it, just financially, it just needs to wait. And I'm very excited about getting it. It's not that I'm worried that it's gonna sell out. I'm not saying it couldn't, but I think most people, their financials aren't great right now either. So it's like, well, probably not going to be worried about it selling out, but I do want to pick it up. So that's on the wish list. We're waiting. If I would have, I think my partner would have been open if I wanted to buy a lipstick right there and then in the excitement of the whatever. But I just didn't want to pick something and then get home, look at the pictures, and then go, oh, I wish I'd have gotten that. And then I would have wanted to buy another lipstick and so forth. So I think probably it was good that I didn't pick up anything right then. It's just now I have to wait and, make sure that it's still available at that point in time. But I think it'll be okay. We're just gonna see. And if it's not available, I'm gonna be sad about it. I'm dealing with the feeling of like, this feels like a summer lipstick, and it feels like, you're getting a little bit of that emotional kick of like, oh, the Marilyn sort of thing, the whole, when she was, in Amagansett and, having this relaxing, this beautiful summer looking sort of time, you know, wanting that feeling, you know, I think there's a lot of that in that, but it does feel like a pretty summer look, and I want that. So anyway, I pulled out all of my Lisa Eldridge lipsticks, and then ones that I had that were close to either the Simone or the Norma Jean. I have a number of them that are kind of like the Simone. You know, you've got probably the closest is my NARS. This is one of the matte formulas, and Whiplash. So that's probably the closest. Also, this is in Ellie. So this was close. This is the Laura Mercier, one of the stick ones. But I think for today's look, we're gonna do the Atomic Cherry. So you can see. So I think if I were making the purchase for Lisa Eldridge, I would definitely want to pick up the Norma Jean, and Lord willing and the creek don't rise, I will. I also am interested in the Simone in the same formula. I am interested in the eye palette of Betty, and I am interested in the new, she has an eyeliner that's an olive color that I think I'm interested in. So I'm not saying I would get all of that. I think the Norma Jean lipstick, because it is limited edition, I think is the first on the list for things. So now this formula, the Atomic Cherry, is that more slippy, shiny. It's very pigmented and very colorful. Okay, so there is the Atomic Cherry. Lisa's packaging is beautiful. This is the gold packaging. This is magnetic. It's very sleek. So I actually prefer this lipstick packaging than the new refillable, but I appreciate the refillable, and I appreciate the idea. I think this is the, you know, the idea of something that's refillable, recyclable, fully recyclable, and that, you know, has a story behind it, has this care, has this, you know, real eye for detail. Even if it's not quite my aesthetic, I still really appreciate it. So anyway, this is the look. This was the visit. I was very excited to go do this visit, and I'm glad that I was able to bring my partner and my puppy with me, and I was excited that I got to go. I was very excited. I feel like this little kid, like, oh, I got to see the pop-up, but I did feel that way, and everyone was very nice, and it made me feel, you know, good in supporting her brand, and just very excited to try and capture that feeling of Norma Jean and summer. So if and when I get this picked up, again, like I said, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we'll do it. I will shoot a video wearing that lip color and be very excited about it. So anyway, hope you're doing well. Tell me what you're excited about, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.